Hello and welcome back to my channel. It is Friday, and it's Friday the 13th. What could possibly go wrong? Just kidding. What could possibly go right? That's what we should be asking ourselves. Well, welcome to my channel and welcome to Friday the 13th. Today we're just going to go over a few things that are in the headlines, okay? We're going to talk about the Karen Read trial that just closed really briefly because I think one of the last testimonies literally just shut the case down. It's over. It's a wrap. We all knew. I can't even believe that they're still going on with this case. What a waste of money and resources and people's time. We're going to get into that testimony that just shut it down. And then we're going to talk a little bit about Sabrina Carpenter. She has everyone up in a roar right now. And then we're going to go into, of course, a little bit of It Ends with Never, and then your comments, some of your comments that I found interesting over the past week, and then that will be that, and we can all go to our beautiful weekend. If you're ready, I'm ready. You're in frame with Mandy Magnan. Took me a little bit longer to get here today because I feel like I was just burning the candle at both ends. You feel me? Last night after work, I indulged in a little bit of bevies. I had quite a good time out there on the balcony. Like I said before, I am just a girl that loves my lip gloss and lingerie, okay? It was fun though, really fun, but a little bit later of a night than I had expected. But I am here, and also, I just want to give a big shout out to another YouTuber and content creator who does such phenomenal, amazing work. Leanne Newton invited me onto her live yesterday, and we chatted for like over 2 hours, and we probably could have went on for hours and hours and hours. If you haven't checked her page out, I will tag it below in the description as well as the video. And yeah, she goes on some amazing deep dives. She was the original one that found the metadata with the New York Times. I mean, her work, her investigations, her deep dives are so amazing. And yeah, what an amazing woman. I was so honored to be part of her live yesterday, and the video's out now, so go check it out. We really talk about a lot of things in this case, and it is so much bigger than just Justin Baldoni. Sadly, Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively have been getting away with this for a very long time. And yeah, check it out. There's a lot of tidbits in there, and we talk about, we just get into it. You feel me? So thank you so much, Leanne. You're amazing. I love your work, and I look forward to this relationship and this friendship growing some more. And again, I'm just so honored that I was part of your live. And yeah, thank you so much. What a great day. Well, Karen Read. Karen Read is on trial again for the second time for her boyfriend's murder. She already went to trial last year. It was dismissed with a hung jury. They've decided to retry it. Why? I have no idea, because these people are liar, liar, pants on fire. I mean, every time I hear a witness speak this whole trial, I'm like, they're lying. They can't tell a straight answer. They have, I think there's more evidence against the police officers and the people at the scene to cover up this murder. And the last witness, or one of the last witnesses, I should say, he just put the nail in the coffin. It was just chef's kiss, as we say. Let's just quickly watch a little tidbit from his testimony, which I thought, that was it. Case closed. If I was on the jury, I would have already decided a long time ago. But this was, I think, the one that really proved that Karen Read did not go back to the house. She did not hit John O'Keefe with a car. She wasn't there. It wasn't her Lexus. There's just so much evidence and evidence and evidence. And now this one of the testimonies, there was a woman that got on there and also said that, the arm didn't have any wounds to it. That would be a car accident. There was no proof that a car hit them. There was so much testimony from people being like, your story isn't matching up. He had blunt force trauma to the head and he died because of the brain injury, and it had nothing to do with being out in the cold. It had nothing to do with being hit by a car. There's no even evidence of being hit by a car, even to the point that one of the witnesses a year ago said that they, in their report, found John O'Keefe with a big heavy coat on And the truth is, he never had a coat. So now they've all changed all of their stories so many times. But I think this expert witness really proved through his own expertise that he wasn't hit with no car, man. This was not Karen Reed. This was a bunch of, for lack of better words, dirty cops covering this up. And I think that they, either through foul play, I mean, maybe it was an accident. Maybe they were play fighting. He fell, hit his head. Weird things happen all the time. But then to cover it up on Karen Reed, I mean, that man isn't worth all this trouble. I don't think their relationship was worth all this trouble. And oh my gosh, to have to try the murder twice and be innocent and have all of these people be lying on you. Oh my gosh.
Couple of reasons. First of all, and the main reason is that to get the injury, it was a fracture at the occipital region of the head, which is basically on the back bottom part of the head. So in order to have that part of the head contacted by the taillight, you would somehow have to have a configuration or be standing in a manner that the rest of your body doesn't get hit, because there's no other significant injuries to the body. If there's enough force to cause a skull fracture, then there's going to be certainly enough force to cause injury to the rest of the body. So first of all, you have to determine how could you configure somebody could actually be standing to have only the head impacted, the back of the head. And even if that was the case, if somebody positioned themselves in such a manner to have that occur, you're still going to see other injuries related to that. For instance, with the cervical spine, over 1,000 pounds of force acting on the head, you're going to get significant cervical injuries, fractures, disc injuries, tendon and ligament injuries. So the fact that we only have that head injury and only damage to the occipital portion of the skull is inconsistent in this case with being struck by that tail light.
They go on to ask him, so you never checked whether, you know, the car hit him or not, or there was a Lexus involved, or what speed the car was going on? He was like, no, because there was no evidence that he was hit by a car. There is no bruising on anywhere of the body except for the head, which is consistent with being hit in the head with a blunt object and or your head hitting a blunt object, right? And it just goes to show that then the Alberts home where he was found, Mr. O'Keefe outside being dragged, he was dragged outside and left there. They renovated their basement as well as the stairs, as well as the big cinder block that was there, which they had already done before that. And they got rid of their dog, their family dog, which he had dog bites on him. So I don't know what happened. I don't know. But what I do know is Karen Reed is innocent. Okay, so Sabrina Carpenter. Sabrina Carpenter is a pop star. If you've ever watched any of her shows or performances or concerts, I mean, I personally don't listen to her music or follow it. Of course, I've heard it, but it's nothing that's on my playlist. And not for any specific reason. I'm not a hater. I think she's beautiful. I think she's cute. I think she's super talented. Nothing for that particular reason. I just, you know, I know some of her songs, of course, but never really like dived in like that. But I guess she just released her album cover and it has the world in a blaze. Let's just say advocacy groups are coming out condemning the album cover. People are saying it's putting women back hundreds of years, and it's a very torn situation. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the album cover, and then I'm going to show you what some of the people are saying, and then I want you to drop your comment and let me know what you think about this and what your opinion is. I don't know. So here it is. This is the shot. This is the album cover. She's on her hands and knees, kind of begging like a dog, I guess, while a man pulls her hair. She writes on Instagram, my new album, Man's Best Friend, is out August 29th, 2025. I can't wait for it to be yours. X, pre-order now. That's the cover. What do y'all think? Does it warrant this kind of huge backlash? I mean, I've even heard people say, you know, it's not even that the album cover is so whatever it is, grotesque and sexual. It's just that people are tired of seeing everyone's butts. I think that was what the thing was. I'm kind of torn because although I do think that it's not what she's going for. I mean, she's saying that she's doing this for feminists and she's a pro-woman and pro-feminist type, but then acting like a dog, but I don't know. I just think it is what it is. I mean, do I like that she's acting super childlike and portraying herself as a really young girl on her hands and knees? I don't know. I think women are sexy. I think, I don't know. I don't, I've seen worse. I've seen better. I don't really I don't know why now it's like this one album cover when there has been women like, twerking and shaking their butts in music since the beginning of time. Why now is Sabrina Carpenter taking all this hate? I'm not really sure, but drop your comments. I'm going to show you just a few things of what people are saying and what some headlines are, and then you could make up your own mind and decision, or just not even care at all. Like, I don't really care about it. I just thought it was weird. It keeps popping up on my feed today. So many people were like, what do you think about this? I was like, I don't have a say. I don't know. Like, if I've watched clips of her at her concerts where she simulates sex, like a lot of it on stage, and she's obviously overtly sexual and is selling a thing. I don't think it's as weird as Sydney Sweeney coming out and saying that she's going to be selling her used bath water. But you know what? A girl's got to get it where a girl's got to get it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, get it, girl. I thought this was more shocking and strange and just like, I expect this maybe from OF girls or maybe from that Bonnie Blue. I can't believe I just said her name. I expect this maybe from, other smaller content creators or but not, I don't know. It's very strange. I don't know what's going on here. This, I think, was weirder than Sabrina Carpenter, because if you've watched her shows and, seen what she's kind of all about, but there is definitely some weirdness going on right now, but there is a market for everything. People are selling their feet pics, used underwear, used socks. I mean, you could literally, there is customers and a market everywhere, okay? So let's just see what some of the people are all up in a roar, what the headlines are for Miss Sabrina Carpenter. The Independent came out and they made this story headline, which I thought was pretty bold of them. They wrote, if you think Sabrina Carpenter's album cover is disturbing, you need to get a grip. The new Princess of Pop has sent shockwaves across the internet with her artwork for Man's Best Friend. But anyone who thinks it's off-brand has clearly missed the point of the singer's provocative persona. A lot of the comments are kind of ringing like this. So these are just a couple of comments here on her IG where it says, girl, no, this ain't it. This looks like you're being abused. And many comments saying that this ain't it, girl. This is not pro-woman. This is not feminism. This looks like you are being abused and you're catering to the male gaze versus, being in your body and loving yourself, that you're, this is just for men. And well, I guess you get the hint, but it is, this is her this summer on the Rolling Stones cover of the magazine. She's beautiful, she's gorgeous, and she's owning it. I think that not everything is catered towards kids. Not everything needs to be catered towards the general public. And it maybe not everything is for you. I've seen enough clips of her concerts to know that her lyrics are overly sexual, that she is overtly sexual and open with her sexuality and sensuality, and that's what she's selling. And I guess if you don't like it, don't buy it. But to say that she's setting women back hundreds of years for an album cover, women in the music industry have been doing this for a very long time. Look at, some of the recording artists. I like to be sexy too. And I like to be sensual. And, she's selling an image. I don't think it set women back hundreds of years. I don't think it's as deep as everyone's taking it. I think that now she's making it very apparent that her show is not for kids, because I remember when she was on tour, a lot of people were saying that they left with their kids because they didn't realize, Well, maybe on the parents that you should know what kind of music your kids are listening to, and now be warned that Sabrina Carpenter ain't it for young girls, okay? I think she's trying to just be a baddie. I don't know. Drop your comments. Do you think that this set women back hundreds of years? Do you think people are over exaggerating? Do you think everyone's in their feelings? Or do you think enough with the sex stuff? We're tired of seeing everyone's butts and bodies. What's your thoughts? I want to know. I just think I'm like maybe so desensitized from artists and pop stars and rap artists coming out and doing this kind of stuff. I don't know. I think she's beautiful. I think she's in her body. I think she's owning it. I don't think it set back women hundreds and hundreds of years. I think there's other women who are actively doing that for us. So, and now we are going to get to It Ends With Never. So a couple of things happened in the last 24 hours. It wasn't anything that wild until Blake Lively, she just keeps running to the judge with every little thing, and we're going to go over her latest little letter, and yes, it has to do with Taylor Swift, okay? Surprise, surprise. But let's just quickly go over some of the docket so we're all up to date here. Blake Lively's team came and also filed a letter to compel the Wayfairer people for their investigation reports. The judge gave the Wayfairer people until Friday, June 13th, to respond at 5 p.m. The same day, they had a letter response in opposition, and that was addressed to the judge. We'll talk about that a little bit because it has to do with the security features, and I just have some thoughts on that because we just went through that with Stephanie motherfucking Jones. So why is the judge playing like it's you denied the Wayfairer people's request for Stephanie Jones to get their security Edgeworth's investigation notes and their subpoena? He squashed that subpoena for Stephanie Jones, but now they're trying to get the Wayfairer people's private information, and it's the same conflict, like lawyer-client privilege as well as workplace doctrine privilege. So we'll go over that quickly. And then Blake Lively filed a motion to compel 2 employees from TAG, Melissa Nathan's the agency group TAG, to compel to their subpoena. I guess they've been going back and forth and they were complying, and then all of a sudden they had issues with the subpoena and the request. So now Blake Lively has run to the judge to get them to compel with their subpoena. And then on top of that letter motion to compel, they also filed a declaration, and that was filed again by Michael Gottlieb to the judge, and he's just saying what they were asking for. He put in the subpoenas that they asked for, as well as their objections and responses. They're asking for a lot, okay? I'll tell you that right now. They're really trying to prove their case. So then the judge came back with an order right away today, and he said that they have until Wednesday, June 18th to produce any of the documents through the subpoena. So the TAG agents have to comply to the subpoena. He issued it until June 18th. And then by Friday, June 20th, next Friday, Blake Lively can have a reply. If she wants to reply, she's able to do that. I'm not sure why. And then Blake Lively's gone to the judge a couple more times. She wants to leave a file document, as well as she wants a protective order against the Wayfairer people. What? Let's go. First is first, Blake Lively and her party are filing a motion to compel against the TAG people. That was filed on June 12, 2025. They're simply saying that pursuant to Rules 1C and 4C of the court's individual rules and practices and federal rules of civil procedure, Blake Lively respectfully submits this letter motion to compel key third parties, Catherine Case and Brianna, wow, why was that so hard? Brianna Butler Coslow, to make full productions of all relevant non-privileged materials in response to the Rule 45 subpoenas. So they're saying that they sent them subpoenas pretty much. They were agreeing. They were going back and forth. They did a bunch of confers. Everything was Gucci. And then all of a sudden, it wasn't. So they're saying that Miss Case and Miss Coslow accepted service of the subpoenas through their counsel on March 3rd, 2025. They had nearly identical subpoenas asking for certain information, communications against or any communications to do with Blake Lively and Mr. Reynolds, the various defendants, the digital campaign, and the limited phone records. Now, they're saying everything was good. They engaged in a lengthy conferral process and everything was fine. And they were expecting to receive these documents. And now, all of a sudden, Unbeknownst to them, in June, when the parties appeared to finally be nearing agreement, counsel for Ms. Case and Ms. Kozlow raised objections for the first time to the relevant time period and asserted a new position as the requests. They did say at first that they were seeking all communications to do with all of the Wayfairer people, including Steve Soritz, everything to do with It Ends With Us, and that they were so kind and that they specifically offered to modify the request to exclude requested communications with Baldoni, he, Soritz, Able, and Mutual, understanding that Miss Lively will receive those documents directly from the Wayfairer people. So everything was Gucci as per Miss Lively until all of a sudden it wasn't. And now they're saying that these late-breaking objections made clear that negotiated compliance would be impossible. So this court should compel compliance. They're saying that the subpoenas seek information that is relevant to the claims and defenses and is proportional to the needs of the case, and they do not pose an undue burden. Ms. Case and Ms. Kozlow were personally active participants in the digital campaign, and that features prominently Ms. Lively's pleadings as individuals who witnessed and participated firsthand in the Wayfarer party's digital efforts. Their materials are highly relevant, indeed vital to Ms. Lively's claims, including her retaliation claims. Careful, ladies, you might be sued next, if you did even anything. If you did anything, you're going to be sued next. Then they say that further, the requests are narrow, tailored to obtain communications of individuals known to have participated in the campaign at the heart of Miss Lively's suit and who would have no relationship with the majority of the Wayfarer parties except for their participation. Where she thinks that this untraceable smear campaign started and ended is very weird, because in some stances she's saying that it's still ongoing and it's happening to this day, and then in other cases, like even now in here, they say likewise the time period in the subpoenas from May 1st 2024 to March 3rd 2025, date of service of the subpoenas, is tailored to the period during which the alleged campaign took place against Miss Lively and unfolded and was underway. Oh my gosh, it's just so crazy. They have, once again, those immoral, unethical text messages that they got through a fake lawsuit. And on May 17th, 2024, Justin Baldoni did text the tag group saying we should have a plan for if she does the same when the movie comes out, alleging an ongoing smear campaign on February 25th. I don't think that's alleging a smear campaign. I really think if you read the text, it says we should have a plan to defend ourselves if Psycho Lively tries some crazy stuff during the movie premiere. To me, that's what it sounds like, minus the psycho crazy part, but everyone knows, a spade's a spade, right? And then they go on, because they are very smirky and smart lawyers, regardless, because Miss Case and Miss Kozlow did not object to the time period in their request and objections for any time period before June 3rd, any objection to the time period has been waived. Then they say that these ladies lack any basis to avoid compliance with the subpoenas other than boilerplate objections in their requests and objections. They have generally argued that the subpoenas pose a burden by seeking information that can be obtained by the Wayfarer parties, but there is no absolute rule that the party sources must be exhausted before calling upon third parties to produce relevant discovery. It's just so funny, because it's like when it's happening to them, they fight and squash subpoenas and say, all of this stuff, but then they're doing the same, if not worse, trying to get the information for their case. But I just think it's just a lot of hypocrisy, honestly, always coming from the Blake Lively camps. Then they say that they want the subpoena to go through, and this argument that it is, a burden to them and they're going to get the information from Wayfarer through discovery, they say is a weak argument, given that the requests also contemplate information exclusively in the possession of Ms. Case and Ms. Kozlow, and that TAG does not appear to intend to produce information from these individuals. They go on to say that even if their argument is accurate at this point and you take it at face value, the party sources must be considered exhausted as a precursor to Ms. Case and Ms. Koslow's productions. In the 3 months since the subpoenas were served, the Wayfarer parties have not produced a single document reflecting either Ms. Case or Ms. Kozlow. Meanwhile, the deadline for substantial completion is less than 3 weeks away. Depositions have been noticed, and fact discovery closes on August 14th. So Ms. Case and Ms. Coslow cannot claim any other meaningful burden arising from the subpoenas. So I'm very excited because we all know Blake Lively's being deposed this month by the one and only Brian Freeman. So everyone has their date. Everyone's been noticed for the subpoenas. Everyone's been on notice for the depositions. Let's see who gets called in. Miss Lively should be permitted to litigate her case with the crucial evidence known to exist. Does it exist? Does it? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if anything exists, honestly. Ms. Case and Ms. Coslow's status as third parties and their desire not to find themselves wrapped up in this case does not entitle them to avoid or further delay this essential discovery. Ms. Lively respectfully requests that the court order Ms. Case and Ms. Coslow to produce all non-privileged material responsive to the subpoenas by no later than June 27th, 2025. Note this sentence because when we get into her latest cry for help to the judge, this will be very important, I feel like. So it's just kind of crazy that they say their desire not to find themselves wrapped up in this case does not entitle them to avoid or further delay this essential discovery. And the Wayfairer people did come back. Kevin Fritz did come back and make a statement the next day, just saying exactly what I had already kind of summed up, and I'll just sum it up here again. The Wayfairer entities assert that the investigation documents are protected from disclosure by both the attorney-client privilege and the work product doctrine. It is well settled that workplace investigators undertaken by counsel to render legal advice are protected from disclosure by both the attorney-client privilege and the work product doctrine. He goes on to say that as set forth in our prior correspondence and as confirmed in a declaration submitted here within, which is we read one of the declarations, the investigation was initiated in January 2025 in response to Lively's new allegations raised for the first time in the complaint she filed in December 2024 with the California Rights Civils Department. So they started the investigation and it's still ongoing, right? Like, chill. And they don't have to give you anything, just like he already ruled that Stephanie Jones didn't have to give anything from Edgeworth, so why should they have to give anything from their investigators and firm? I mean, if they have to do this, it just shows, again, more bias from the judge, because how do you rule out one party and then not the other party, right? And then here, this is where I think this is what they bring up and they're talking about. Let's just see. I just read it really quickly here, but it's this part where it says, this court granted a law firm's motion to squash a subpoena served by an alleged victim of workplace harassment and retaliation, which subpoena sought documents concerning the law firm's confidential investigation of such allegations. Because the law firm was retained for the purpose of providing legal advice and the requested documents were made for the purpose of obtaining or providing that advice, the same result is warranted here, especially because litigation was not merely anticipated, but rather had been initiated by Blake Lively. A revised privilege log prepared by Raines, the original version of which Lively submitted this to her reply, is submitted here within. Lively erroneously contends that the privilege log plainly undermines Wayfairer's position that it does not possess the investigation materials. In truth, what Wayfairer advised the court was that the investigation findings, report, witness statements, and related material have not been disclosed to Wayfairer. As the court noted, Wayfairer does possess its engagement letter with the investigators and other correspondence, but the correspondence does not pertain to the substance of the investigation. Lastly, Lively concedes by her silence a point raised by the Wayfairer entities in opposition to the motion that disclosure of the investigation materials will risk chilling witness candor, distort the fact-gathering process, and undermine the neutrality that is fundamental to a credible inquiry. Sealing investigative reports of plaintiffs' harassment and hostile work environment allegations was warranted due to privacy interests of witnesses and the potential chilling effect that disclosure would likely have on future investigations. Therefore, the Wayfairer entities respectfully request that the court deny Lively's motion to compel. Deny something from her, please. But that just makes sense to me. I mean, how do they do it for one and not the other? And they hired this investigation. These investigators, they don't have to give Lively the results of it right now. I mean, that is an internal workplace doctrine as well as lawyer-client privilege. I mean, she just thinks that they should be handing her every single thing That's not how it works. And, you know, especially since they've been denied so many things, especially since they were even denied the Edgeworth security from Stephanie motherfucking Jones, this also should be denied. And if it isn't, that just tells me a little bit more information about what's going on here. And now the final one, and I haven't read all of this one through either because it literally popped up seconds before I hit record on this video. So it is new, but I did see Taylor Swift's name in it, and I saw protective order. Protective order, girl. Oh my gosh. It's so funny that she's doesn't want anyone else to have any protections, doesn't want anyone else to be able to defend themselves, protect themselves, do anything, but now she wants another protective order. So she already fought for protective order and attorney eyes only on medical records, and now doesn't even want to give up the medical records. So let's see what this piece of baloney is. It's from Ezra Hudson, so you already know it's going to be a little snarky, if you know what I mean. But let's just go into it. We're just going to read the whole thing. I think it's only like 3 pages, I believe, 4 pages, so it shouldn't take long. Pursuant to Rules 1C and 4C of the Court's Individual Rules and Practices and Federal Rule of Civil Procedures, Rule 26, Blake Lively respectfully submits this letter motion for a protective order regarding the Wayfairer party's continuing demands for Miss Lively's communications with Taylor Swift, made again yesterday, which they have pursued at the same time they have refused to produce to Miss Lively the documents they publicly claim to have received as part of a deal to withdraw the subpoenas to Miss Swift and her counsel. Good cause exists for this request because it has been the Wayfairer party's tactic since August of 2024 to make Miss Swift and her fan base central to their media strategy against Lively. What? So it wasn't only an untraceable smear campaign with content creators and with media and with the PR. No, their entire strategy was to really get all of Taylor Swift's fans to turn on Blake Lively. Oh my God. Which they documented in both their communications and scenario planning document. Miss Swift is not central to Miss Lively's claims. Unlike dozens of other witnesses she identified who the Wayfairer parties have largely ignored and is otherwise irrelevant to the Wayfairer party's claims, which were dismissed on June 9th. The Wayfairer parties should not be permitted to withhold documents from Miss Lively while demanding her communications with Miss Swift. So I wonder what other witnesses that they put forward to the Wayfairer parties to interview. I would be really shocked if Sean Levy and Bradley Cooper and all of those, Hugh Jackman, like these are the people we need to be talking about. But also we all know that they're all probably going to lie also. But they were all at the meeting of the dragons. So along with Taylor Swift, okay? Just because they brought up Taylor Swift in the scenario planning document, I think it's hilarious that they're saying that their entire plan all along was just to turn the Swifties against Blake. But you know, she did that herself. I mean, look at the way she behaves. No one wants to be a part of that. It's so disgusting, and like her whole behavior is so mean and gross, and going out like everything is totally fine and above the world and holding her head like a queen when we know that she inside is actually rotting out and is dark and evil. So the Wayfairer parties should not be permitted to withhold documents from Miss Lively while demanding her communications with Miss Swift. Because of this, and because their continued focus on Miss Swift is a media strategy, not a litigation strategy, Miss Lively respectfully requests that she be relieved from producing documents responsive to request numbered 108 to 109 in the request for production served by the Wayfairer peoples on February 21st, 2025. Well, if there's nothing there, show it. What are you hiding? Why don't you want to show your communications? What was there? Do you know I showed all of my communications with all of my friends and family when I was talking about a situation that happened with me before and I had to go to mediation, go to arbitration. I printed everything. Here you go. This is all the times I talked about it. This is all the times I left crying. This is all of the things. This is how they consoled me. This is how I was talking about not being able to get out of bed, how I didn't eat for days, how I was throwing up nonstop. Here you go. This is what my bestie was saying. I need help. I need to get help. This isn't right. Here are the communications. So what is in those communications that you don't want Wayfarer people to see? Because you're hiding something. And Brian Freeman is going to get down to the bottom of it because it's just insane. She's hiding so many things. If you really went through this, if you were really, in her words, severely, repeatedly, sexually harassed on the 16 days that she was on set in phase 1, to the point where she couldn't get out of bed, couldn't eat, and it changed her life, and she was severely, in her own words, severely emotionally depressed. But you don't want to show any communications with your bestie about that. You don't want to show any of your doctor's records about that. Shut up, okay? It's just too far. I mean, you can't have it both ways. You want your cake and eat it too here. You want to ruin people's lives, a handful of people's lives, women, men, wives, children. You want to ruin all of their lives because you couldn't take a hit. But in order to prove it, you need to show stuff, okay? In order for them to defend themselves, you need to show stuff. And if you have the truth on your side, you have nothing to hide. But yet, Blake Lively just doesn't want to show anything. She just wants everyone to just believe it. Seeking all documents and communications relating to and or reflecting Miss Lively's communications with Taylor Swift relating to the film or the action. Throughout litigation, and particularly over the past month, the Wayfarer parties have repeatedly used Miss Swift's name as part of their media strategy. Who has used Taylor Swift's name more? I don't think that they ran to the media about it. They actually just put it into the court, like the litigation documents. First, they actually filed a subpoena to Venable. They didn't go out into the media and say, hey, we're subpoenaing Venable, which is Taylor Swift's law firm. No, they just did it in the court. Okay? And if I hear one more time Blake Lively saying that the Wayfarer people are using the media, girl, you haven't been out of the public eye and you haven't been out of the media and you haven't been off social media ever since you made that one original post about Michelle Trachtenberg's tragic death. You made a post about her lip gloss being yummy. You haven't stopped since then. You're like, you know what? I took a month off and now I'm back. Give me a break. Specifically after serving RFPs 108 and 19, and as if this court is aware, the Wayfarer party served a subpoena pursuant to Rule 45 on the law firm Venable LLC. The Venable subpoena, which has served as outside counsel for Ms. Swift for communications between Ms. Swift's lawyer and Blake Lively's counsel. The Wayfarer parties subsequently served a Rule 45 deposition and document subpoena on Ms. Swift and sought documents and communications entirely duplicative and cumulative of those sought by RFPs 108 and 109. See Request 15, seeking all documents and communications with Miss Lively regarding the film or the action, together with the Venable subpoena, the subpoenas. After nearly 2 full weeks of tabloid coverage on the subpoenas, as well as on the now stricken filing of the related topic, the Wayfarer parties withdrew both subpoenas on May 22nd, 2025. The same day, an exclusive article co-authored by the Daily Mail, James Vituska, whose relationship with the Wayfarer parties is already part on the record, quoted an insider stating the reason they dropped the subpoena. Justin Baldoni's attorney Brian Freeman dropped the request for their subpoena, and the reason for doing so is very simple. They got exactly what they needed, or what they were seeking. Sending a subpoena to Taylor Swift and Taylor's response has provided Justin Baldoni's team with everything that they needed. Taylor stated that she was not involved at all, and this is a stark contrast to what Lively has said. The insider continued, Taylor was always considered to be the smoking gun in this, and everyone is extremely pleased with the end results and the information it yielded. They got exactly what they were hoping for and much more. Who are you to talk about pulling subpoenas? Blake Lively, now I'm talking directly to you and your team. Because how exactly did you get the communications with Justin Baldoni? And yes, I'm going to keep going to that. You're talking about them pulling a subpoena to Taylor Swift's Venable people when you and your team made up a fake lawsuit named Does 1 through 10 so no one could defend themselves, gave it to Stephanie motherfucking Jones in order to get a sham subpoena for illegal, what would be otherwise illegal text messages, and then you pulled your fake lawsuit, merely hours. I think it was like 24 hours before filing your CRD. So who's talking about fake lawsuits, fake subpoenas, da-da-da-da-da? Shut up. That's honestly, I just can't with these people because it's so wild. Anyway, let's continue. On June 11th, 2025, during his 55-minute interview with Megyn Kelly, oh gosh, they're watching, guys. They're watching hard. They're watching everything. But let's just talk about how Brian Freeman only went on Megyn Kelly after Blake Lively's lawyers were on CNN, TMZ, reporting to People. Brian Freeman hasn't done any interviews. The Wayfairer people have barely defending themselves in the press. They've been fighting this in the court. And Brian Freeman only went on the Megyn Kelly show after Blake Lively's team did a fake victory lap on CNN and other publications. What do you expect them to do? What do you expect them to do? Sit quietly in a corner and cry? No, they're fighting and defending themselves against your lies and all of your illegal, shady tactics. Let's see what they have to say about the Megyn Kelly show. On June 11th, 2025, during his 55-minute interview, and it's really good. If you haven't seen that interview, guys, it's really good. I mean, Brian Freeman is a boss, okay? With Megyn Kelly, Mr. Freeman again recognized that he may not need that evidence related to Miss Swift in addition to what he has already. And now it's funny that they say this, but then they don't talk about how Blake's team went then on to TMZ and said, we're not afraid of Brian Freeman. We're not afraid of him. We're ready to go. So it's like they both are talking in the press. They make it seem like it's only Brian Freeman, and I think it's just another victim mindset. They live in victimhood. It's so bizarre. Take some freaking accountability. If the Wayfairer parties have already obtained exactly what they were hoping for and much more, and do not need any evidence in addition to what they have attained, then RFPs 108 and 109 are duplicative, cumulative, and unnecessary. Even more, the only allegation in this action that were ever remotely relevant to Miss Swift were in the Wayfairer party's now dismissed complaints. Miss Swift is not mentioned a single time in Miss Lively's amended complaint. Yo, just because you don't mention her, Blake, doesn't mean she's not important. There's interviews after interviews after interviews saying that Taylor Swift was with you the entire way. She was there, girl. She was with you the entire way, and she knows she's your best friend. Come on. You used her music. You fired the original composers. She's definitely part of this. Give me a break. You're so bizarre. Later on May 22nd, 2025, counsel for Miss Lively emailed counsel for the Wayfairer parties about the public statements, interpreted to mean either one, the intent of the Wayfairer party's subpoena, since our understanding is that they obtained no discoverable materials as part of this process, was to introduce scandalous allegations about Miss Lively and her counsel into the public domain to generate negative stories. Oh, of course, that's what it always is that. 2, the Wayfairer parties have received materials responsive to their subpoena, which would come as a surprise given that no materials have been provided to us. The same email explained that any discovery that the Wayfairer parties or their counsel obtained concerning Miss Lively from any third party would be responsive to properly served RFPs. To date, the Wayfairer parties have not responded to the email and have not produced any productions from Miss Swift. Further, the parties have an agreement to produce documents obtained via third-party subpoenas to each other promptly upon receipt, which would clearly apply to these documents, if any, notwithstanding the withdrawal of the subpoena. Either interpretation of the reason of the Wayfairer parties withdrew the subpoena warrants the entry of a protective order as to RFPs 108 and 109. If the Wayfairer parties received documents from Ms. Swift such that they have exactly what they need, then the discovery sought in RFPs 108 and 109 is cumulative and duplicative and need not be produced again by Miss Lively. Yo, she is trying so hard to get out of this. Oh my gosh, it's so nuts. Then they state some court cases, of course. if, on the other hand, the Wayfarer parties were seeking only sensational headlines by serving the subpoenas rather than materials to support their claims and defenses, they are not entitled to the information sought in RFPs 108 and 109. The purpose of civil discovery is to obtain information relevant to claims and defenses in court, not to prop up a public relations narrative outside of court. I can't take them serious because you know they have media in their pocket. When was the last time you, on any day since Blake Lively filed this CRD complaint, have you not seen her out and about doing some kind of media blitz? Oh, I was just waiting for the answer. Yeah, every day. This is absolutely wild. And honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if Judge Lyman grants it, because at this point, nothing surprises me. I will be shocked if he approves or grants the motions for sanctions that both Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are crying for. They want attorney fees paid up to 3 times for, Justin Baldoni defending himself, which is crazy. But yeah, Taylor Swift is a part of this. Girl, show your communications. This is crazy. You started this. Didn't you have talks with your lawyers about what you're going to have to show, who the people are going to have to come in, your medical records, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Sorry, my nose is so itchy. Didn't you go over it? And now it's like you don't want to show anything. You just want everyone to believe you. You're the victim. You're the victim. You're the victim. When we all know that's not the truth. You're the abuser. You and your husband are monsters. And I would go as far to say is that you were sexually harassing Justin Baldoni as well as Brandon Sklenar. Brandon Sklenar, you harassed the entire time of the PR tour. It was so gross. Talking about his butt, taking pictures of his butt, doing all these sketchy things with him, flirting with him, making him repeat that line like, and what do you want? Or whatever that line is at the restaurant, making him repeat that in front of girls so they could woo over him. Yeah, it really looked like you were super traumatized by being sexually harassed on set when you were doing it the same. All those text messages that you were sending to Justin, the way that you improv'd kissing scenes. I mean, come on. Ew, ew, ew. We are here today because you can't take that some people don't like you. And now guess what? The little amount of people that were criticizing you back in August, magnify that, okay? Because now we have the truth. Now we know, and we might not ever get the full truth, but we have a lot of a clearer picture of the kind of monstrous, manipulative, disastrous, evil tactics that you and your husband do to claw your way and stomp on people and take over productions. And it's a pattern and it's disgusting. And that's it. That's the episode. We'll see what happens here with the Day Swizzy stuff. I mean, oh my God. Just stop. It's so gross. It's so gross. Anyway, drop your comments. Let me know what you think. And speaking of comments, let's go over some of your comments from this week. The first comment I actually pulled from Billy's Hot Mics. He's doing amazing work too. He's really on this case and gets it the way we all get it. But this was just a comment that I thought was important for everyone to know because there's a lot coming out about Judge Lyman, whether you believe it or not believe it or whatever. The information is the information, right? So I still think that I am trying not to think that he's like bought out or biased or anything. But then when I saw this comment and I watched a couple of videos, I was like, I don't know. But this is just, I'm just going to read the comment. Okay. And all of these comments, no particular order. They're just ones that I saved in my camera roll. So Judge Lyman is the brother of Doug Lyman. Doug Lyman is represented by CAA, the agency co-owned by the billionaire husband of Salma Hayek. Hayek is a great supporter of Blake, whom we've had seen side by side with Blake last month. Judge Lyman is a stockholder of T-Mobile, which owns Mint Mobile. Yes, the same Mint Mobile that Ryan Reynolds still markets and endorses. Blake and Ryan's attorneys for this case against Baldoni are also the lawyers for Mint Mobile. Judge Lyman has been previously reprimanded for not recusing himself and the antitrust case against Bank of America, which he also tossed out. His wife owns stocks of Bank of America. He is known for not recusing himself to a case, even if there's conflict of interest. Also, I heard that he was part of a Diddy victim, wanted to come forward and press charges or, come forward against Diddy allegedly, and she wanted to do it anonymously, and he denied her from doing that. a victim of sexual assault couldn't come forward anonymously. I think that's gross if true, but I haven't really looked into it enough to know for sure the facts, but that was some rumblings that I heard and I noted down to look into. So when I do, I'll bring you that information. Banana Handle 79 says, now we know Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds send things to other people secretly. They seem to project what they do onto Justin's side. They love telling on themselves. Yes, they do. Honestly, everything that they say they've done or are doing, that's why they think that these people, the Wayfairer people, can be up to all of this stuff, all of this malicious stuff, and all of this, quote unquote evil things, because they do it themselves. And just a little note on they tell on themselves. I actually have this video that I pulled, and now is the perfect time to play it, because Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, given the opportunity, will always tell on themselves. And this is Ryan Reynolds once again telling on himself. I pulled this video from Receipts Proof Timeline, who does amazing work and deep dives on finding all of these little videos. But yeah, check this out. This is kind of cray. So they're hosting a late night talk show, and yeah, just take a listen.
Question here. If you could ask these two guys anything in the world, what would you ask them?
Anything in the world. So I'd ask this person, who are you? And I would ask this person, who are you?
I got this, all right? Who are we?
Yeah.
Okay. We're the outgrowth of severe childhood trauma who have toiled away in this vapid, morally bankrupt industry for the past 25 years, and now we have enough money to get away with literally anything. We could buy your childhood home and burn it to the ground. You hear me? You think Jimmy Kimmel's really on vacation? He's dead. We killed him. You got it?
Take that as you will, but yeah, Ryan Reynolds is always telling on himself. I mean, we already know he admitted to arson. He likes to brag about how he's so powerful he can take anyone down. There it is. Evelyn Goingden says the biggest stress for Blake Lively's daughters is finding their mom blackmailed their godmother Taylor Swift, and that Taylor never wants to see them again. Yes. Talking about the behavior of Ryan Reynolds in the video. If you haven't seen the video, please go and see the behavior of Ryan Reynolds. I mean, it is a clear pattern, okay? This is what T. Capco had to say. I've been saying it since Justin Baldoni came out with his evidence against Blake Lively accusations. It's Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds who have been using Darvo. Everything they have accused others of doing, they have done. Yes. And last but not least, I have Dre Heath that said, girl, when are you going to get some customized emotional support lip gloss? I would totally buy it. And then Angela Marino said, me too. And I agree. Hopefully one day it will come out. I actually just ordered some new lip glosses today, so I'm kind of excited about that. So yeah, thank you so much. And honestly, any new lip gloss that you guys are trying on that you absolutely love, let me know. Drop it like it's hot, because I am a lip gloss girly, okay? Well, there it is. That's everything so far on this Friday, the 13th. Oh, weird. Let's see what happens. Anyway, I hope y'all have a great weekend. If anything comes out this weekend, I'll definitely let you know. I'll keep you posted. I hope you have so much fun. I am very excited for this weekend. I'm definitely going to take it easy a little bit. I have some to-do lists that I need to get to, as well as redrafting of my feature script. I got some notes back, so I'm still finalizing that. I can't wait to share that with you guys. And yeah, I'm going to go gardening. I'm going to go to church on Sunday. And other than that, yeah, get to adulting, all of the stuff that we need to do. Errands and cleaning and laundry and dishes and blah, blah, blah. But still, I'm going to try to enjoy it as much as possible. So I will see you Monday, unless anything else comes up. But other than that, I will see you on Monday. I hope you have the best weekend and enjoy it, and find some time to spend with yourself, even if it's a minute, 5 minutes, an hour, to just love yourself a little bit more this weekend and carve out that time that is just for you, because you matter and you deserve it. You were born worthy. You deserve all of the love. It starts with you. Let's just give each other a big hug right now. Hug yourself. Oh, I love you. Thanks so much for being here. It's always a pleasure, and I'll talk to you soon. Love you too. Bye.